Hey, so today, early morning, my time, US Pacific time, there was a third quarter moon. So that is what happens when we are 3/4 of the way through the moon cycle and we see a half moon waning in the sky, meaning it's getting smaller each night and it's half full. And then we have lots of interesting alignments, oppositions going on. We have Pluto in the last 2 degrees of Capricorn. We have this third quarter moon asking us to adapt, to change, to integrate what we've been learning in recent days and weeks. So if you have any feelings of concern or worry about something going on in the world, or if you are having something show up in your life that it has you worried or stressed, or feeling like there's something you need to do or change, right, to get in alignment with what it is you want to create for your life. That's what we're going to talk about today, how to work with these energies, how to use them in terms of shifting into what it is we want to experience. And so what's going on? What does it mean? And how can we work with it? I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Sunday, November 5th. Thank you so much for being here. So first of all, with the moon in Leo, third quarter moon in Leo, we have the energy of self-expression. So whereas we have had a lot of sort of inner processes going on and feelings and, working with energies that we need to feel and process and think about. Leo is the energy of self-expression. So this is saying, okay, this is the part of the process where you need to try something, move some energy, express yourself, create, say something, do something, right? Put it out there, try it out, see what happens. We also have yesterday the changing of directions of the planet Saturn. So Saturn is the planet of boundaries, of limits. It is hard energy. It is that taskmaster that is asking us to step up our game by reminding us of our limitations. It's like, okay, here's where you could be better, is really what it's saying, right? It feels like here's where you're not good enough, right? But what it's really saying is here is what you could step into if you choose to. And here are the rewards you can get for that effort if you're willing to put in the hard work. So the planet of limits, boundaries, limitations, where we need to prove ourselves or earn something, change direction. So it was retrograde, and that takes that energy into the inward processing, and so our need to experience our limitations inwardly. And now with Saturn station yesterday to go direct, now that experience of challenge and limitation is showing up outwardly, just like Pluto. So yesterday I was talking about how Pluto has did change directions on October 10th. So 2 of the outer planets now direct, reminding us that things can be showing up in the outer world, whereas previously it was something we were working out inside of ourselves. So we have that energy of Saturn coming up. We also have this third quarter moon. So the third quarter moon takes place when the sun and moon are in a 90-degree square. So meaning that they are 90 degrees apart. If you imagine a circle, 180 is opposite and 90 degrees is half of that. So a 90-degree angle between 2 planets, that's the sun and the moon during a third quarter moon or first quarter moon as well. So that energy of the third quarter moon or any square is also the energy of pressure. It is the energy that is inviting us to step up our game, to make a change, to do something differently, to shift our consciousness, to step into new ways of being. So we've got Saturn pushing us. We've got this third quarter moon saying, what are you going to do about it? Based on the last full moon, which was the lunar eclipse in Taurus at the end of October, October 28th. So that energy of the full moon that was eclipsed, that was creating an opening, a portal, a gateway to new ways of being. That's how an eclipse can facilitate or accelerate change, growth, evolution, adaptation. And so, and that's in terms of our consciousness. So with that full moon eclipse in Taurus, we also have the full moon energy that is illuminating something, revealing something, reflecting something back to us. So what is revealed at the full moon is something that we can use as information to guide us going forward. So what was revealed around the full moon then becomes what you need to integrate at the third quarter moon. It becomes the information that you need to go, okay, I noticed this. I became aware of this. Now, what do I need to do, or how do I need to be or think differently or feel differently about things going forward based on what I noticed at the full moon, which was in this case an eclipse. So this energy of Leo that's asking us to be expressive, creative, moving energy, putting things out there. Maybe we need to speak up about something. Maybe we need to share some perspective that we have or some truth that we have. Maybe we need to try something out, put something out there, create something. So that Leo energy is creative. It also brings in the energy of drama, right? Leo is performative. It likes drama. So if you're noticing any drama showing up, you can always redirect that drama into how can this be seen creatively? How can we be working with this energy of feelings, right? The Leo is the expression of the Cancerian feelings. So when the moon's in Cancer, we feel things, and then it goes into Leo, and we need to move that energy. We need to feel it, express it, share it, and move it outwardly. So that can go into creative processes. You may need to express something that you're processing for yourself, something you're learning about, integrating, processing inside of yourself and doing art or a creative process of some sort can help that, right? It can facilitate the movement of that energy. So maybe you need to write something out and see what it looks like when you express it. Maybe you need to sing, to dance, to move. Maybe you need to draw or paint. Maybe you need to say something out loud. So that's the Leo energy. And that is that third quarter Leo moon asking us to share and shine and express ourselves and create and perform, right? Put it out there. Let it shine. Let your light shine. So what does that look like? What is that showing up as for you in this bigger process? And this bigger evolutionary process is going on that has a lot of pieces. So we have the energy of Saturn going direct. We have a lot of oppositions in the last week, especially Venus opposing Neptune, Mercury opposing, let's see here, what do we got? Mercury is opposing Uranus. Sun is opposing Jupiter, or was last week. So all these oppositions showing up are, and I've been talking a little bit about this in recent videos, like how those oppositions, which 180 degrees apart in a circle is an opposition, right? If a square is 90 degrees, in astrology, that's a 90-degree angle between two planets. If you remember from geometry, 180 is when they're exactly opposite on the circle, and 90 degrees is when they're halfway between that 180. So both of these points in astrology are points in the circle that represent kind of a crossroads, kind of an inflection point, right? Something is turning, something is changing, something is happening. So anyway, when two planets are opposite, we have that polarity. They are opposing each other. So one way of looking at it is that they are as far apart from each other as they can get. And so in their ongoing dynamic relationship with each other, they come together when they're conjunct, right? They're together in the circle, in the zodiac, and then they slowly move apart, further and further apart, until they're opposite. And that's when they're at maximum objectivity. So when they're together, it's like when you're, right there in a conversation, or, having an intimate moment with another person, right? That's the subjective experience. You're enmeshed with each other. You can't separate your experience from the presence of this other person who's right there. But when you're as far apart as you can get, you don't have to be thinking so much about what that other person thinks, right? You can do whatever you want. You can not worry about any consequences until next time you come together again. So that's kind of what's happening with the planets. When they're in an opposition, they're like, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. We're not really so much in each other's orb, right? We're not so much in each other's sphere of influence, but of course there's still a relationship there. So what is that relationship? It's objective. It's where we can see a little bit more clearly of what that other energy is, and how that can show up in our lives is as this polarity. So it's like, well, okay, we have the Neptune and Venus energy. So Venus is love, right? It's the goddess of love. It's also about values and money and love and affection and the ability to receive and have pleasure and feel good and all those things. So Venus is this really receptive quality of beauty and aesthetic. And then we have Neptune, which is the big picture of spirituality. Venus is in Virgo. So that Virgo energy is bringing beauty into tangible form, right? We want to connect with it. We want to feel it. We want to taste it, touch it, see it, hear it, and really feel it in the physical world through our senses. And then Neptune in Pisces is like the opposite. It's this completely intangible, bigger picture of spirituality, of the dream world, of the great ocean of being and transcendence and going beyond the physical world. So when they're opposite like that, there's this sort of this either or feeling. So it's like, well, okay, I'm really in my Venus, experience of the earth and the world, and tasting my food, and just really like having that experience of pleasure through my body, and what does that look like, and what does that feel like, and then forget that, because now I'm meditating and I'm connecting with some transcendent quality that I can't describe, and the point is that they are opposite. So it's either or. It's one or the other. They're not merged together at this moment. So that opposition brings us this greater objectivity and this ability to see a little bit more about how these two things work separately, and also how they can pull us in different directions. So you may, for example, have the experience of overindulgence in delicious foods because it's good, and there's that pleasure and the flavor and the sensuality of it, right? And the connection with this experience of delight that we can get through this physical thing. But then that Neptunian experience of transcendence and losing touch with reality, losing boundaries, right? We could just get lost, and before you know it, we've drank way too much wine, and we've had way too much food, and then it was because we didn't really have that realizer of how those two things were both present. So it's in the process of having this opposition, we are integrating. So we have the ability to take a bigger bird's eye view, take a step back, see the bigger picture of how they are both operating. And now, if we're really working with this energy, what we can do is we can taste our food, drink that wonderful wine or whatever your beverage of choice is, and realize that in this moment, like, I don't need to eat all of it, because this one moment, this one bite, this one sip is like everything, right? It's like this one moment of pleasure is all I need, because it's enough, because it's incredible just as it is. So anyway, that's just one example of how we might work with that opposition energy. And it really is kind of really this bigger picture of asking us to think about our patterns, what we do automatically, what we do without thinking, and to be more conscious about it and more aware and more present in ways where we can recognize how the divine shows up in our experience of beauty and pleasure and sensuality here on the earth plane, and vice versa, how we don't need to have all the physical things, because each one, right, each individual moment or each individual thing is everything. Like it's that great divine, it's infused with that divine energy, and it's enough, right? So anyway, see how that might apply in your life, how that might be showing up. I just gave an example, but of course, it's going to show up in different ways for all of us. So looking for polarities, another polarity, we have this opposition between Mercury and Uranus. Fascinating, because Mercury is our everyday mind. So they're both planets that have to do with the mind and mental processes. But Mercury is like our everyday mind, our everyday thoughts, our problem solving. It's like the here and now, collector of data, communication, very practical, very tangible, in terms of communication, networking, gathering information, learning, processing information, solving problems in the here and now. Uranus, on the other hand, is this higher level of thinking. So Uranus is the outside the box thinker. It is the way that we need to shake things up. It's the way we might have a new idea show up, right? Completely new way of thinking, new perspective, new idea, new solution to an old problem. So when those are opposite, again, there's this pull in opposite directions. So we have this polarity of like, okay, either I'm immersed and embedded and engrossed in the data, in the information, the things that are in front of me, but I can't really like get outside of it to think at higher levels, to get new insights, to see the patterns, to see the implications of this data and have it shift my thinking. And then So we're either in that way of being, or we're in that Uranian, like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna like throw out all the information, all the data, because it doesn't matter, because I'm thinking in new ways anyway, and who cares about the here and now. So again, it's that feeling of being pulled in two directions, that polarity, that opposition between those two ways of being and thinking. So an example of how you might integrate these two planets that are opposing, right? So this is going to be the higher path, the path of higher possibility, the bird's eye view, the integration of these oppositions, this polarity. It's recognizing that we are both at the same time. It's kind of a way of embracing a paradox, and that is the highest path for oppositions in general, is to embrace the paradox. We can do that through humor, through recognizing that things that are contradictory actually, can coexist. And they do, even though there's not really, like, it doesn't necessarily make sense. So when we have the everyday mind in Scorpio, where it's in that place of mystery and like complexity and emotionally based, and then Uranus, the higher mind, in Taurus, which is simple, wants easy answers, wants things to be predictable. So the planet of unpredictableness and change in the sign of the predictable and the tangible and the normal, which that's the placement of Uranus in Taurus for many years anyway. And then this Mercury opposing it is activating it in this way that this opposition is showing up. So how we might need to let ourselves write things out or speak things out, talk things through, and then allow that to actually shift the way that the communication happens, right? Maybe it's going to change the conversation. Maybe it's going to change the narrative or the way we think about it. Maybe some of these evolutionary processes that are unfolding right now involve a need for a shift in thinking, right? A need for a new normal, a need for a new way that we ground our thinking and contain it and experience it as what is the normal way of thinking. So there as we go through Uranus and Taurus, there are changes in that bigger picture thinking, bringing in new ideas, bringing in new ways of thinking about and being in reality, right? Reality, normal, predictable, whatever, however you want to talk about that. And then the way that Mercury in Scorpio is getting us to, it's taking us into mental places and thoughts that are sort of outside of our comfort zone. So the way that we're processing energy and information is inviting us to step into this change. And that's one way of bringing that dichotomy or that paradox into something that we can work with and learn through and grow from. Okay, got off on those oppositions, but I also want to talk about briefly the energy of Pluto in the last 2 degrees of Capricorn. We have had the energy of Pluto in Capricorn as Pluto, the great transformer, goes through this sign of Capricorn, which is about systems, structures. Capricorn is like the infrastructure or the literal structure that it's the foundations that we rely on. So systems, structures, institutions, ways of operating. So it's operational systems, things that we count on and depend on, that we have constructed and can deconstruct. So what does it look like? And also themes of authority, authoritarianism, patriarchy, right? And so as we look at and think about the way that some of our systems and structures are breaking down in the world, and the ways that we need to re-envision and reimagine those systems and structures, to create them in new ways, because that is truly the opportunity of Pluto in Capricorn. Now, as we go through that experience of Pluto having, it's been in Capricorn since about 2008, 2007. There were some in and out of Capricorn throughout that period, and eventually Pluto went into Capricorn to stay until now, until 2023. And that energy of Pluto in Capricorn really bringing a transformation in breakdown in systems, structures, and institutions that is creating an opportunity for us to lay new foundations, create new structures, build new systems and ways of operating. So that's where we're at. And with Pluto again moving through the final 2 degrees of Capricorn, right? This year, earlier this year, it went through the end of Capricorn into Aquarius, retrograded back into Capricorn, where it has been for several months now, and is now direct in Capricorn in those final 2 degrees. So we're having this reckoning at the end of Capricorn that has to do with what have we not completed in this work? What it's kind of like reckoning and accounting, I guess, of looking back to see what have we accomplished, what have we not accomplished, what are we carrying with us going forward as Pluto goes into Aquarius, what do we need to get right, and what do we need to think about as we bring completion to this well, every sign is an opportunity. So Pluto in Capricorn has been this opportunity to transform our system, structures, and institutions. So how are we doing that? Where do we need to keep moving that work forward? And then as Pluto shifts into Aquarius, which it did earlier this year and will again in January of 2024, bringing in the ability to vision the future, to shift into more of a future-oriented focus, to that big picture thinking, that outside the box thinking. So with Pluto in Aquarius, we'll be transforming ways that we rebel. So Aquarius is the energy of rebellion. It is how we break down those old structures, systems, and institutions and break free of them and envision the future, shift our focus to a future-oriented way of thinking. There's also lots that can change about our experience, as well as themes of freedom, themes of equality, themes of breakthrough, themes of new solutions to old problems, themes of detachment and technology, and themes of higher level thinking, but also much more objective. So we have now Aquarius is a social sign, right? It's not about your like feel good, your best friend. It's more like what does it feel like to be at a party? And so it's like that social energy that it's detached, it's friendly, it's like let's work together as a group, less like the intimate like work of relationships. So that Aquarian energy is going to be unleashed. It's going to be transforming. It's going to be helping us think about how we how we break out of old ways of being and shift and change into new ones. It's going to be really important to have a vision of the future as we go into this Pluto in Aquarius energy. So what does it look like? What does it mean to be thinking in a future oriented way? And less about the past and the trappings of the past and the conservative values. So Aquarius is much more progressive, and it's going to be asking us to transform in that area. So it's both good for progressive values and humanitarian values and equality and working toward a cause. So activism, all those things are under the umbrella of Aquarius, whereas old systems and structures like patriarchy, like government systems, or this is the way we do it because this is the way we've always done it, are more Capricorn. So we're stepping into these more future oriented, more freedom based, equality based, progressive values, but those values are going to be transforming the same way that Pluto in Capricorn brought a transformation in some of the more conservative ways of thinking and brought them to the forefront, yes, but also kind of revealed where some of the weaknesses are of those old conservative values. And so taking away some of the power, right, as it transforms and it can be seen for what it is. So that's going to happen to progressive values as well. And we'll have to look and keep thinking about what that is going to look like and how it's going to show up. But the bigger point that I want you to take away, and thanks for bearing with me today, this was kind of a lot to talk through, but the bigger point to take away is that we are in a process. We are not, doomed or looking at something that is, things end, right? That's part of life. There's death, there's rebirth, things end, and at some point humanity will end, the earth will end, right? Everything is temporary, but there's no reason to think that we're necessarily there yet, right? We still have lots of ways that we can make a difference. And if there is a future for us, do we want to claim it? Do we want to shape it? Do we want to make it what it can be? And so that's why it's really important not to give up, not to lose hope, not to think in some of those sort of scary ways that sometimes we might hear about or feel. There's really, there's breakdown, yes. There's transformation, yes. There's also tremendous opportunity for creativity, for making a difference, for creating things in new ways, for bringing in innovative thinking, new solutions, new ways forward, more egalitarian principles, more inclusive, more focused on humanity and what humanity actually needs. In terms of the people, right? Our human ways of being here. So anyway, I hope I'm not rambling on too much, but thank you so much for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and you can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. Thank you so much for being here, for subscribing to this YouTube channel, and we'll keep going with astrology for unshakable self-care as we go together through these processes and cycles and evolutionary change. So thanks for being here, and thank you for subscribing. Thanks for your support, and I will see you next time. Checking out at astrologyheals.com if you're interested in working with me. Getting a consultation for yourself can be such a gift for your soul. All right, check it out, astrologyheals.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.